What an intro. Your wife is our intro.
Oh, yeah, is she?
I love it. Welcome
I
back,
didn't even hear
everybody.
her back
We're
there.
here. We're here. We're
Welcome,
talking
welcome.
fitness stuff.
Always fitness dick. No, I
Despite
think
despite contrary belief, this is not a car or auto podcast like our last
dude,
episode was.
there's so there's so many podcasts out there now, right?
Yeah.
And there's like I've seen some dumbass ones where it's like guys are talking about how to get girls and shit like that. But there's this one recently that people were talking about because like these guys on multiple episodes talked about how pigeons aren't real. Like that was like a whole like 10-15 minute conversation about how pigeons are government drones and you've never seen a baby pigeon and shit. And I'm like, we're trying to provide some sort of quality content here.
Yeah. Well, today's content is going back to our a couple of weeks back. We did a Rich Piana deep dive, and we'll just be grabbing another fitness person today. We'll do our updates, but this kind of series is one we'll do for a little bit, just kind of doing deep dives on people in the community. And today's world is built up of influencers too, so today's is an influencer. So if you get like, if that's a red flag to you, don't be, because some of the guys are actually really interesting, like the guy we're going to cover today. But in
Yeah.
terms of updates, I am officially off of SARMs because I did not gain 80 pounds of lean muscle in the first day I took it. So
The one
I'm I'm
dose.
I'm I'm clean. No, I'm kidding. It tastes like dick. It is terrible.
Yeah.
It is the worst tasting thing I've ever had. And
Yeah.
I chased it with water. I just dealt with it, but then I was like physically writhing. Like I was
Hmm.
convulsing at one point, like not like throwing up, but like my body just, like when you eat something that's so foul that your body just doesn't know what to do with itself. That's
Yeah.
where I was at. And I know, like we talked about it, like 2 weeks is probably when I'll start seeing any kind of actual results. So just staying on top of it until then is the big thing. But
Uh,
we'll see how much of the early days is fueled by the placebo effect. Like yesterday's leg day, my knee is still pretty messed up, but I was able to pound my leg day pretty hard just because, when you start taking anything new, you're like, oh, I'm so excited, and you just start, letting your mind go out the window while you work out, which is nice.
yeah.
So crushed leg day yesterday. There's a lot of just really wonky stuff at Vanarchy that I'm able to use.
Hmm.
And I like there's a seated hamstring curl where you have to like push the weight forward to even get into the thing, and I've never seen that. And then your legs are like at an incline almost, so you're getting an even deeper range of motion. It's wild. I
Is it the
so
plate loaded one?
No, it's pin, but it has like
Oh,
a belt, so it looks like a lawnmower belt kind of. um
yeah. If I saw what you're talking about, I know what you mean.
yeah, I'll shoot you a
I
picture
just can't
later
think of it
today
off
when
the
I'm
top of
there.
my head. Yeah.
Yeah, but overall, we're getting slowly back into the grind of things now that I'm somewhat close to healthy again. But nothing. I got nothing else other than that going on for my update. My diet is still the exact fucking same.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, really no difference on my end. I think that PCT should be starting this week. If not this week, then next week. He said in 2 weeks, I wanted you to start on PCT, and that was 2 weeks ago. So I think I should get an update from my coach of what the plan is. I got everything in that I need, so it's simply just running through it. But typically with PCTs and a health phase, the goal is to drop a little bit of fat. Um, so that's probably what's going to happen. Ideally, whenever we do PCT, the goal is to drop like a percent or two of fat, ideally. So we'll drop a little bit of fat, be natural, probably natural as in just not on anything. Probably for like 4 to 6 weeks, clean out, be healthy, and then get into a blast from there. But we'll see how that goes. So, um, Timeline wise, still, I'm thinking like it's hard to say. Like end of like the earliest would be like mid November would be like the earliest. I'll probably start on a blast. The latest like beginning of January. But we all just got to play it by ear. I'm not sure how long he wants to make my PCT, whether he wants to go 2 weeks or 4 weeks. And then I'm not sure how long he's going to want to run a health phase, whether that's 4 weeks or 6 weeks. Obviously, most of it's just playing it by ear. That's a lot of what like bodybuilding comes down to is just playing it by ear and adapting as you go. So we'll have to see what ends up happening down the road. It's hard to say exactly right now what's going to happen. I mean, we were pushing off my first show for like a year and a half. My original plan was January ish 2022. We didn't end up hitting it until June 2023. We just kept putting on size and size and size and size. And then we hit prep, and that really like transformed my body. Like I'm approaching 200 pounds now, where on stage I was like lower 180s. So I'm approaching 200 now, and I still got, visible abs, and, I still got pretty vascular and pretty vascular arms and forearms still, with some good definition. So my fat distribution overall has improved drastically. I think a lot of my fat now actually sits kind of like in my glutes. I've noticed a lot of fat sit in my glutes right now. A little bit in my hips.
You're a woman.
Um, you female. Um, and then I think that's about it. I mean, my hams hold on to some fat as well. They don't really ever get super defined. Um, but I'm just glad to keep it off my abs section because that's such a bitch to have full of fat because like you could like crush it and everything else look fine with a shirt on, but then you take off your shirt and your abs aren't there. It's fucking annoying. And there's this meme myself yesterday. I meant to send it to you. I don't know why I didn't. But it was like, oh, you go to the gym? Where are your abs? And it was like this anatomically drawn like person slowly punching someone in the face. Like it was supposed to show what muscles are used when you're punching someone in the face, but it was like you just want to hit him in the face. I'm like, yeah, I've been there.
Well,
I know
the
what
other
that's like.
one is the other joke with that is like, "Oh, I've got a six pack. Where are yours?" And you're like, "Yeah, how much do you weigh?" And it's like a buck 30.
Yeah, that's not a six pack. That's no fat. You're just skinny.
Yeah, skinny abs.
Yeah, skinny. Yeah. Ugh, I hate that shit.
With your
My,
PCT, do you have to do any blood work or tests to see like
yeah,
what your levels are at?
yeah. So once we run through the PCT and we're done that, I'll get some blood work done. Check my lipids. Check my liver. Check my hormones, stuff like that. Basically, just get like a whole general panel done just to see where everything's at. So I'll find out plenty of quality information. My biggest thing going into is going to be my lipids, my FSH and LH levels. FSH and LH will kind of show me like where my fertility is at, which is good, roughly. And so finding out basically my LDL and HDL cholesterol, my FSH and LH, my estrogen, my total test, and my free test. Those are the main things that I'll be looking for in the panel. There's a lot of other things too, like creatinine. Prolactin is also a big one I want to look for. I want to look at. When I say look forward to, I mean like looking forward into the future. I
Yeah,
want to look
yeah.
into. Um, uh, Prolactin is a big one too because that's the only reason. Like that's one of the biggest side effects that I have in general. Not really even side effect. It's just the way my body's built. I just produce a lot of prolactin, and I could tell just coming off of Caber Choline alone, which literally inhibits your prolactin levels, because my not that my gyno is showing really, but like my like gyno areas are kind of painful, and that's like the one side effect I get from like testosterone that aromatizes. So, um, but you can't really take cabergoline forever. You know what I mean? It's not something you should be taking for forever. So I hopped off it for a rebound, and I'm going to stay off it until potentially my blast, whatever that's going to be. Um, I'm hoping the blast is going to be fun. I don't know what it's going to be yet. I kind of want to be like, hey, let's take something interesting to really put on the sides because that's really what I need. So we'll see what the plan is. My coach is very health conscious, so we generally lean healthier, easier on the body anabolics, especially consider we're not doing like something like men's open or some shit. So we don't have to go too harsh. But yeah, so really just got to get blood work done and see where I'm at, and then kind of go from there. Um, I remember, I think he was on like 12 weeks of nothing last year, I think, after all of his shows. And he was talking about how like at first he was like dying. He got used to it. You get used to it after some time, but like for a few weeks, like it sucks being off shit, because you feel like a superhuman, and then you become normal again, and you're like, wow, I feel like shit. So that's not going to be fun. But the PCT itself is pretty fun because you're still taking tests. HCG is also something that a lot of guys run as well. That helps with a lot of different things within the male body, and you can actually gain muscle and like lose fat with it too. HMG is going to be interesting. Clomid if we run that, Novadex if we run that. All of that's going to like, even though it's bringing it kind of back to normal, it's also like anabolic in a sense. You can use it in anabolic ways. Clomid, so like there's a storm right now that everybody's talking about called enclomiphene. Uh, so enclomiphene is what all these different influencers say they're taking now. They're still natural, but it doubles your test production, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't actually do that. They're saying that, oh, because it doubles your FSH and LH hormones. So therefore, or your FSH and LH levels. So therefore, you're doubling your testosterone, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it's not really what your FSH and LH means. Your FSH and LH more so kind of actually means like your fertility rather than your actual testosterone production. Yes, it is tied to your testosterone, but it's not like, oh, my FSH and LH are high, so therefore my test is high. And it's like that's not really what it is.
So
But
it's a penis pill.
in a way, it's a testicular pill. But it's let me just tell you what exactly it is.
Finally, the growth hormone us men want.
Just tons and tons of semen. Yeah, it's an estrogen receptor antagonist. Okay. Um, yeah, so it's basically just. Let me see if I can read exactly what this abstract says. I didn't even know we were going to read about this, or otherwise I would have brought it up. Um, it's a potential to increase serum testosterone levels in men with secondary hypogonadism. Yeah, okay, hypogonadism by restoring physiological endogenous testosterone secretion while maintaining testicular volume and potentially spermo spermatogenesis. It's a fucking word. Spermatogenesis. Um, so it's basically like honestly, I would almost see it as like something you'd use in PCT, honestly, rather than something that you'd actually use like in a cycle. And the reason that also makes me think that is because one of the forums I'm in, who that I reference actually I've been referencing a lot recently, he talked about how he said basically enclomiphene is Clomid with more side effects. So I'm like, okay, interesting. So I didn't even know you could really like these guys are saying, oh, they're using clomiphene for their blast or whatever. That's how they put all this weight and this muscle and stuff like that. Oh, this fucking abstract was written in 2009. Wow. Okay, it's been around that long. Interesting. Um, but it really just became popular as a SARM. But really, it's not a SARM. It's not a selective androgen receptor modulator. It's a estrogen receptor antagonist. But yeah, so like Clomid, I guess you can also use for cycle too. So that'll be interesting. I think my last PCT was HCG and Novadex, I think, and it was 5,000 IU's every 3 days of the HCG. I think it was also tied with the Novadex as well. I forget what the dosage was, but when I get all that, I'll obviously let everybody know what the plan is. Um, Something that's also interesting too, now that I'm thinking about it, is my coach posted one of his athletes who's competing, and he actually posted with a story of him what his cycle was, which was
Huh.
interesting. And it was essentially my cycle, which is 300 test prop, 300 mass prop, and 150 mgs of tren. He was running the same thing as me basically. So it's just, and granted, he's also like 12, 13 weeks out. Like they started way the fuck out. I mean, he's probably now actually more like 10, but when I started that, I was like 5, 6 weeks out. So, he'll be on it a lot longer than I was. Um, but yeah, it's pretty light for prep dose. And it was kind of cool to see him transparent about it.
I
But
was gonna say, like, we talk about it and people talk about it, but to see people actually post a cycle,
yeah,
that's breaking even further into the transparency, but like window.
yeah, I think he probably asked him if he was cool with him posting what his cycle was, because I'd be like I wouldn't care, but at least like ask. Like
Yeah,
if you just like posted it, it'd be like, I don't necessarily like, I'll talk about it and you could talk about it if you ask me if it's cool. So I mean, that's what my assumption is that he probably asked him, but I like the transparency. And he said that like the guy who runs the team, that I'm on, he said, so my coach said that he would never have been okay with that. But now that the team has a bunch of pro guys who are open about their anabolic usage, it's now the Pandora's box is open. Now you can't go back. So
yeah.
he's like, now I'm going to start talking about it because they're talking about it. So there's no difference. Um, so it's just kind of cool to see that they're all
He po
transparent. He's transparent.
he posts it anonymously, and he's like, "One of my clients is doing this," and everyone goes, "Shit, is that me? Or is that am I
Is he
taking
talking
the
about
wrong
me?
thing? Did I
Yeah,
read the email wrong?"
yeah, but did I fuck up? Yeah, there's this video he posted and he was like, I just wanted to show you guys exactly what like is like a perfect weigh in. He's like, one of my clients sends me this every single week. He talks about his food, his sleep, his stress, his hunger levels. He sends me training videos, and like I already knew like 4 other clients that could have fit, including myself. I'm like, who the fuck is he talking about? This could be like 10 different people, and then it ended
Yeah,
up being the same client that he's talking about with like what he's taking right now as far as drugs goes. Um, so it was just um, which I mean, I'm fine with. He was also in prep too, so like he's only going to show guys who look the best, or like
yeah.
stuff like that. So like even though we send almost all of us, like I've been saying the same way in for years, essentially with him. So since almost all of us, probably, I'm assuming, send in the same way in, he just wanted to show like the better looking one at the time, which he's more deep in prep, and he already had good fat distribution going into prep, so it wasn't like he was me starting out with a lot of fat going into my prep for my 2 shows. Um, so he looks pretty decent right now. So he ended up posting that. But it's just funny because he could be talking about any one of us because there's so many of us, not necessarily with just my coach in general, but other athletes as well that also take gear. And a lot of us, especially men's physique, take very similar cycles. So it's like, who is he talking about? Who are these people calling out? Because this could be any of us.
When you
So
when you hop back on your blast, I'm going to write your cycle. I call it the Liver King. And we're just gonna put you on what everything that's on that email. So hope you have some money saved.
yeah, 11 grand a month. I'll get that all saved up. I actually, speaking of that, I watched a video of Rich Piana talking about what his craziest cycle was that he ever took. It was, I think he said like 2 IUs roughly of GH every hour and a half to 2 hours. And then he said it was 2 grams of test. Um,
2 grams.
yeah, 2 grams of test. It was, he said 6 to 800 mgs of tren, and then he said 600 mgs of equipoise. So roughly 20 IUs of HGH, uh, 2 grams of test, 600 to 800 milligrams of tren, and 600 equipoise. So we're talking like lower end. We're talking 3.2 grams of gear and then 20 IUs of GH a day. Sorry, not a day. The gears, sorry, 3.2 grams of gear typically is what they talk about in a week. And then 20 IUs of GH a day.
Yeah,
GH just isn't measured in MIGs, it's measured in IUs. So can't really say what the milligrams dosage is. I doubt it's even in milligram dosages, or if you can even buy it at that. But
it's
yeah,
like
that
when
was
you
his crazy
do
cycle.
it's like when you do an ounce to cup conversion.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like equitable.
Yeah, it's not
Equitable,
quite the
sorry.
same. Yeah, no, you're good. It's not quite the same. So that was it was interesting to hear. I also want to preface last episode with we never said that Rich Piano's the reason he died was because of synthol. We never said that. We were speculating his usage based off what other people have said as well, off his visual looks before he died, and then we are talking about how I'm sure that if uh, synthol just bursts randomly, you could potentially die from it, but that's not the reason he died. Um, so I just wanted to mention that about last episode in case any of you guys are listening. Also listen to the Rich Piana episode because I know some people thought that we are saying that his synthol is the reason he died, and that's not the case. Um, so I just want to say that.
Yeah,
But speaking of Rich Piana,
I was gonna say, what a
and
transition.
yeah, speaking of Rich Piana and people, somebody who a lot of people compare to Rich Piana is Sam Sulek, and he is a hot topic right now who's going crazy fucking viral. So we figured we'd just talk about him. And when we do these influencer reviews, it's more just like kind of just talking about him. It's not really like critiquing them or anything like that. It's just what our individual thoughts are. Sometimes we'll mention what other people have said, um, what other people feel, but really it just comes down to what we think and what we've seen and how we've interpreted it, stuff like that. So figured we just kind of do another influencer review about Sam Sulek and talk about him since he's a hot topic and dude's 21 is fucking massive. So might as well.
You know, when he first popped up on my page, so I found him on Instagram. I had no idea who he was. It was just popping
Yeah.
up like in my For You page, and I thought it was just some like random like. I didn't think he was big at all because the car camera angle for him, it's just like
Yeah.
it's so clearly just like a AC vent phone holder, like one of those little clips that you put in your car. Um,
Hmm.
and like just a super regular camera angle. So I was like, okay, this is just like some video some dude like just kind of whipped together. It wasn't anything special. But then he continued to pop up, and he actually is super super smart and like in depth with what he does. So it's pretty interesting to see that, and like how it's kind of like how Derek from More Plates More Dates, like he doesn't care for like his environment. He just records. You know, he's got that little tiny room that he records in, and that's like all he does. With Sam, it's like the same thing. You like it's like, here's my car, I'm just gonna talk. And vice
Yeah.
versa in the gym. Like he's not like one of the videos I saw recently about him doing leg extensions. Like he doesn't care how he looks. He's just he just does this thing, and he says what he wants to say, and then he just that's him. There's no like putting on a facade or anything like that.
Yeah, he very much records very similarly to Rich, where it was like he just kind of like vlogs almost in a sense. Like he posts 45 minutes to like an hour every day
Yeah,
of life, and that's just his general life. Typically, it evolves around training, but um, yeah, it's he at first. My opinion of him originally was like, oh, this guy's just kind of a funny meme. But then I started seeing him more and more, and I'm like, okay, I'm not really liking what this guy preaches because, or like the way he lives because he doesn't really train with good form. He takes way too much gear. As far as speculation goes, people talk about what it is, and dude definitely takes way too much gear. He's 21 looking like that.
yeah,
You can have the best genetics in the world. You can never look like that without a ton of gear. That's just the reality. Even C-Bomb, who's like a genetic specimen naturally at his age, was nowhere near what Sam was. Granted, obviously Sam is like kind of like more men's open size. But I mean, considering his fat levels, he's more men's open size. But still, it's like C-Bum is arguably one of the most naturally gifted bodybuilders of all time, and he was nowhere near that. So um, there's a lot of he's definitely on a lot of stuff. I'm not going to say exactly what. I'm not that much of an expert into what he could be taking potentially, um, but yeah, he. So I was like, I don't know. I'm just not a big fan of that. And then his diet is fucking ludicrous. I'm just like, this is not good. I'm like, these kids and teenagers and stuff like that should not really ever eat the way Sam eats. Like that is fucking bad. So my
yeah.
thing is with Sam specifically, I think that as much as I respect him now, I think that he's not going to live a long life with the way he's eating, with the way he's training, with the gear that he's taking. He's not going to live a long life. He's going to have to pull it back in order to live a longer life. That might not be his goal. There's a lot of guys who don't care how long they live as long as they can be as big and crazy looking as they can. Uh, but it's just seeing what Sam is doing. He's not going to live long, especially if he's doing it at the age he's at. When you're doing, the younger you do it, the more I want to say this is true. I could be wrong, but I want to say the rule, one rule of thumb is that the younger you do it, the more years you're taking off in the end. It's like you're damaging your body more when you're taking more shit when you're younger than when you're older. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, that's my initial thing with Sam. But there's a lot of good that Sam has to offer, especially when it just comes with like just being who you are and um, loving what you do and just doing it. Like he's not very much like like Rich does all these like he used to do all these like motivational videos like just get up and do it. Like he's like you got this like whatever he would say, and he's like you got to fucking eat. You got to eat big to get big. God damn it! But like Sam, he'll just be like, it's leg day. Gotta go hit legs. And I'm like, that's literally me. I'm like, I don't fucking say shit. That's motivational or whatever. Like, I'm just like, you just gotta fucking do it. Like, it's,
Yep.
one of my favorite memes of him was, when you experience almost traumatizing days as a man. And it was Sam and he goes, well, that was weird. Anyways, stress day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's literally what it's like being a guy. Well, that was rough. I guess chest
Let's go.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
I was gonna say
but
that's
yeah.
like that gives him the relatability that makes him like a lot easier to follow and like because like a lot of like people who are in the bodybuilding world and they post videos and especially like training videos, people will like will watch them, but it's more so to see like form. They're not gonna actually be able to relate to the video because the dude is just so much bigger than them and like just lives a lifestyle they can't. Whereas Sam,
Yeah.
like, yeah, he looks so much bigger and he's way 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 more lean and toned than anybody like his age will be, but we look at him and he's so casual and he's like, yeah, whatever. That's how way more of the population is. How people are just like, all right, I'm gonna train today. Like, so there's way more casual fitness people than there are
Mhm.
bodybuilder fitness people. So I think that's what he bridges the gap really well with his demeanor.
Yeah, I mean, he even has like the gymnast swimmer background too, you
Yeah.
know? So like that kind of ties him to it as well. I think he just kind of, I mean, I don't like it. There's links like Generation Iron had an article about him, which is actually fucking crazy. Good for him. Um, he was a former gymnast and diver, not a swimmer, a diver. But as far as the reason his transition to bodybuilding is, or not really even bodybuilding because he hasn't competed, just more like his transition to like building up his body. Um, I'm not. Nobody really has talked about that. Um, I think my guess is just he kind of just found that he had like a knack for it, like his genetics kind of just like pointed in that direction, and that's the reason he went that way. And there's a lot of bodybuilders that are like that. Honestly, the best bodybuilders in the world are like that. Flex Wheeler, for instance, he was a martial artist. I want to say it was jujitsu, and his somebody else that he knew said, "Hey, you should try bodybuilding because you look crazy and you're not even trying." And so he started training like a bodybuilder, and he became fucking crazy. And he basically there's a video of him talking about how he said he had to choose between martial arts and bodybuilding, and he went to his I think his sensei or whoever it was or whatever master, whatever you want to call it in jujitsu, and was like, look, this is what I have to choose between, and I don't know what to choose between. And I want to say his master told him, look, you're going to have more success probably in bodybuilding because you're built for it, like you're gifted for it.
Yeah.
And he's really good at jujitsu too. Like he's phenomenal at that too. But it's just that point in that direction. It's like Ronnie too. Like he just wanted to be a cop. That's it. He just trained and wanted to be a cop. Like he just lifted in the gym. That was it. But then he found the guy who owned the gym he went to and was like, if you let me train you and do your diet and all that, you can be the best in the world. And that's kind of what got him into bodybuilding. So like there's a lot of these guys who don't realize they have the genetics for it because everything just kind of works for them. They don't think that like it doesn't compute to them that doesn't happen for other people, right? So
Yeah.
then they get into bodybuilding. And I think that's kind of what happened with Sam was like he was just getting bigger and bigger, and he probably like was gifted genetically, and then he was just like, hey, let's just kind of see what happens when I push it in this direction, and now he is where he is, and he's genetically gifted because of his fucking bullshit food he eats every day, and the dude still looks the way that he does. Like
I
that's not supposed to happen.
I just looked at his Instagram, and there's not much on his Instagram.
Yeah.
But his most recent post is he goes, breakfast, 300 calories, 30 grams protein, and it's 2 ham and cheese fucking sandwiches that he heated up.
He's on a cut right now. He's cutting with that. I'm like, you motherfucker. Dude is having fucking ham sandwiches for breakfast with cheese and
Ha-
oh, that's
Hammy
mustard.
slammies. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's cutting right now. Um, there's a so Generation Iron does talk about his uh diet. I think at the time of them writing this, August 28th. This is just before his cut started. I believe he's only a couple weeks into his cut. Yeah, day 24. So he started, I think, probably September 1st, probably,
Yeah.
or maybe like August 31st or something. But this article was written on August 28th. So really, they probably talked to him like within the week of August 28th, like probably within the week prior to that. So his bulk diet was a quart of chocolate milk, which is a lot. That's
What
a
a
quart
start
is like,
already.
I think a quart, isn't that like a quarter of a gallon? Isn't that why it's called a quart?
Yeah, the quart is the vertical, like the one that's more vertical than
Yeah, the skinny one.
width. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Let me just make sure I'm thinking of the right. Like, I just want to make sure I know the
Imagine
other
how
measurement.
expensive it is to buy that much milk.
I mean, it's 4 cups. A quart of milk is 4 cups of milk. Really?
That
I thought
doesn't
he had
sound
more
right.
than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could have sworn he had more than that. 32 fluid ounces. So okay, so it's a quarter of a gallon. Yeah, so it's a quarter of a gallon. So it's like the skinny gallon
Yeah.
that he gets. Not a skinny gallon, the skinny jug. But so he starts off with that. Then he has cereal for his pre-workout meal, and it says in parentheses, it says he wants 400 grams of carbs in his system before he trains. So between meal 1 and 2, he's getting 400 grams of carbs in. That's
How
more than
much
I've had in a day.
how much cereal is he eating?
Got to be a shit ton. It has to
Yeah.
be. Um, Let me see if I can find out like the nutrition of chocolate milk for a quart. Let's see what it says. So this is Walmart True Value 1% low fat. It's so he's probably taking in like 1,200 calories. It looks like because 1 cup. Oh no, this is a half gallon. Sorry, never mind. That's not correct. What the hell, Google?
Well, it's
Fucking
gonna be
butthole.
based off serving size. So
Yeah. So okay. So this is Prairie Farms. He's from Ohio, so I'm not sure what brands of milk he has up there in comparison to elsewhere. But for this is chocolate milk. It just says chocolate milk. That's it. It doesn't say what kind of milk it is, but it's 4 servings. 1 cup is 1 serving, and that's 210 calories in 1 cup. So we're talking 850 ish calories
yeah.
um, in basically his breakfast, which is, I mean, when you're bulking and he's trying to hit 5,000 calories, I feel like that's pretty typical. Um, that's not very surprising for what it actually is. Um, but it's just that the fact that he's drinking fucking chocolate milk is what's surprising. The dairy. As far as cereal, it doesn't say how much cereal. Um, he has posted uh, like his meals when he trains and stuff like that. Like he'll talk about what he's eating and stuff. His meal 3, which is his post workout meal, is a protein shake. Then at the time of this article writing, it said Sam and the hostile team stop at Five Guys. So I guess that like part of this article writing, hostile was also hanging out with him too, or like doing something with him too. And
Well,
then meal
it's in his bio. He's a hostile athlete.
Yeah, no, I know that, but he's in Ohio, and I don't think everybody in Hostile is in Ohio. I think they all flew out to him to like
Yeah,
hang out and train and shit. And I think that part of that was Generation Iron being there writing an article. So I think Hostile wanted to show support when they're going to write the article, and they showed up for him. That's my guess.
yeah,
Is he's like, hey, look, Generation Iron is going to come do an article on me. They asked me to do it, and I think Fuad and whoever else showed up came out to show support for the article. But they got five guys, not his post workout, but meal 4, and then meal 5 is Krispy Kreme donuts and another quart of milk. So that's his food every day. That's his food.
Absurd.
The only real like actual like quality food he got in there was that protein shake. Like Five Guys is not quality, it's
Yeah,
quantity. So the only like actually good for you thing he had in there was that protein shake. And even then, it's a protein shake. You should have whole food instead.
yeah.
So that's his meals. That's why I'm just like, I'm not the biggest fan of his diet. I don't think, I mean, everybody knows his diet is fucking ridiculous, but it's just,
I mean, it's like milk too. Like you're getting the calories, but you'd prefer it to be in something a little different.
yeah, easier to digest, better on the system. And we're not supposed to have dairy in the first place.
Yeah,
So having chocolate milk and then having another quart of milk at meal 5 is ridiculous.
that's
That's
100%
insane.
like just his little kid like addiction that just never got kicked in adulthood.
Yeah, he just loves it. And then how the fuck do you have just like Krispy Kreme donuts every day? I mean, I don't know if this is every day.
And he's not having one or two, like he's having a box of Krispy Kreme donuts. I've seen his videos on it.
Oh yeah, but I mean, you can crush. It's easy to crush a dozen, Krispy Kreme donuts. They're pretty small. Uh, they're
Yeah,
like
but they're
yay big.
packed. The amount of glazing and stuff on there, they're
Oh yeah,
packed in calories.
yeah. If you get them hot and ready, yeah. If they're hot, especially, they'll be
Yeah.
they'll be covered in glaze. But if they're not hot, the glaze will kind of just drip off over time. But uh, yeah, Krispy Kreme is wild. I've had it a couple times and it's wild. But that's his meals. I mean, they Generation Iron did talk about whether or not he's natural. They said he's not really talked about it openly, but he said we can only make assumptions, and he's well over 240 pounds. And it says most of which is straight muscle mass. In order to get to this level of bodybuilding, oftentimes performance enhancing drugs are utilized. So
Well, so here's the thing, like he hasn't performed yet. He hasn't stepped on stage yet, has he? I
no,
haven't
I
seen
don't. I don't know
anything.
if he ever will. Honestly, I don't know if he ever
Well, like
will.
that's such a wild thing. Like why
Hmm.
get yourself to that point and not ever step on stage?
But here's the thing, though: most people on steroids will never compete. Competing in bodybuilding is a niche side of fitness. It's a very niche side of fitness. It doesn't seem like that because that's where all the influencers are and shit, but it really actually is. It's very, very niche. Uh, I mean, in the gyms that I go to, even like out of everybody there at the busiest time, maybe 2 to 3 of us actually compete. And I know that it's niche because the gym owner came up to me and said, "Hey, do you compete? I saw you were posing." I'm like, so if he noticed that I pose and he came up to me about it, then not many people compete here
Yeah.
because it caught him. He noticed it, like it caught him. Like they didn't really catch him off guard, but like he was like, "Oh, that you don't see that," you know. So it
Yeah.
is on the more niche side of things. So most people who do take steroids, one, don't look like they take steroids, and two, don't compete. So that's the thing. And it's just that's why anybody who competes in bodybuilding says you really shouldn't be taking it unless you are competing. There's really no point. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of reasons people take it. Sam, I mean, obviously he takes it. You could just tell based off his acne alone.
No,
And
he's natural. He's natural.
no
I
fake
take a
news.
I take a multivitamin.
It's the Flintstone gummies. I
Yeah.
take 30
Fight it.
Flintstone gummies a day.
the meme of the cancer cells in my body and the one Flintstone gummy I ate 13 years ago.
Yeah, literally
And
just
then it's
fighting
like some
everything
battle
off.
scene.
Yep. Yeah, so this Generation Iron article does mention his acne and his consistent shortness of breath, which is true. A lot of people also talk about his midsection. Sam's midsection points to a lot of, I mean, all right, not necessarily a lot, but it points to growth hormone usage, um, because his abs have gradually built up over time, and that's a big sign of GH use, as well as if you're looking at someone who's got their abs out and they got bumps on their abs, like these little knots, that's oftentimes GH use, most likely. Not necessarily all the time, but most likely because when you're taking GH, I just realized every single one of his Instagram photos have the same, he has the exact same hat on.
Yeah.
This is
Is
September
it
4th. And then this one, September 4th of last year.
is the
Wait,
GH
was
thing
it?
just because of where the
No,
the
it's not.
GH cells, no, not GH cells, that's not what I mean. Just where they're kept in the body, like because of the you're talking about
No,
like the bumps on the abs or
no. So sorry, I got sidetracked because he's wearing the same hat in every single post. The bumps and the knots from GH is because when you're injecting in the same spot every day, your body's going to build up natural occurring scar tissue essentially and fat, and that's why when you see guys with like bumps on their abs, it's because they're pinning in the same spot and it builds up over time. So that's one way of knowing, hey, this guy's probably on GH, because you inject GH typically subcutaneously in your fat. And the easiest place to do that is in your belly fat. Most guys, like myself, most of my fat sits in my belly. So you just basically pinch a little bit of skin and just inject it, no problem. For me,
interesting. I didn't know people
anytime.
pinned in the front. I mean,
Mhm.
obviously I don't do any of that, but to me pinning is always in the ass
Nope, nope.
or like the arm, but I've never thought about it like give me it. Ja.
Yeah, so you do basically a little rundown of pinning. So I pin in my glutes, which is 1 inch. It's a 1 inch, 32 gauge. I think it's 32 gauge needle called the harpoon. That's what I use for my glutes because I need the distance for 1 inch in order to get deep into the muscle. Uh, I can get into the muscle with a 1/2 inch needle, but an inch is for sure all the way in. Then you can pin essentially wherever you want. The problem is you want an area with more oils in order to absorb whatever you're taking in better. So that's why the most common places to pin are your glutes and your delts. But there are plenty of guys. So when you do your delts, you do 1/2 inch, typically like insulin syringe. It's a very tiny syringe. It's like 36 gauge, 38 gauge, something like that. Like really really tiny syringe. You'd pin in your delts. Some guys pin in their pecs. I don't know why you would, but that's up to them. Some guys pin in their quads, which you should never do. Do not ever fucking pin in your quads. A lot of guys now are starting to pin in their lats, so they'll hunch over or something like that, take the syringe and just go right here on their outer lat. But when you're doing subcutaneous, which is within your fat, you use the same 1/2 inch insulin syringe, and you pinch really, ideally, your belly fat. I don't know anybody who does anywhere else, but you do your belly fat. I know some over the counter stuff you get, not really over the counter, but like stuff you get prescribed from doctors. You can do it in. They advise you do it your leg fat. They say to pinch your leg fat and inject it in there. I'm like, okay, whatever. But I mean, not to me, but to people I know, they said that. And then so in your belly you just pinch and then you inject into your fat there. It slowly digests over time. That's why you do it there. With
Yeah.
something like GH, typically what happened is the reason why Rich mentioned he did it every 2 hours. He did also mention that it was a bitch to do it every 2 hours, because when you take something like GH, you should wait a half hour after after you inject it in order to eat. You shouldn't eat until a half hour after you inject it, and that's why it was a bitch for him, because he was eating. He said like 12 meals a day is what he was saying he ate at the time. There are tiny meals, I'm sure, but 12 meals at the time. So it was a bitch for him to find the time to do it where he has an empty stomach, and then to wait more time as well after that in order to have it pinned.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's how you pin the GH, and that's how you can tell sometimes somebody's on GH. There's this one video I saw of this guy yesterday. He was tiny, like he's small, but he was super, super, super fucking lean, just super diced. And you could just see like 4 different bumps on his abs. Like they're like little balls. Like you put like a marble almost in his abs, and that's because of GH use. That's why you should rotate where you pin. And that's why I'll be rotating where I pin soon enough once I get on TRT, which is probably what we'll do. We'll probably, honestly, probably what my prediction is we're going to be doing TRT during PCT and then taper off, get healthy, maybe do a little bit of TRT and then get into a blast. But TRT, I'm going to probably swap to my delts because I've been pinning my glutes too much. Not too much, but for so long and so many times over the past like year that like my glutes are really starting to get fucking tired of it. And I think that's part of the reason my fat is building up in my glutes is because of that. So I got to swap to my
Well,
delts.
you guys are behind on the curve. I pin in my temple, right up top.
Just I do my eye socket with bull shark testosterone. It's perfect. Go straight into the bloodstream.
I don't actually pin. I just take a shot of test.
Yeah, you just drink it. you like buy testosterone from a guy, and you're like, dude, why does it taste like shit?
No,
Like,
no, you buy it from a guy at the gym, and you go, hey man, first, I'm a veteran. I know how to take it. Drinks it right in front of him.
Yeah, you just pop the top of the vial off, and you just swing the whole thing. You're like, why does this taste so bad? The dude's just sitting there with his like jaw dropped, like, you just fucking drank it. You're like,
And then immediately crushes up a D-ball and snorts it.
like, what the fuck? This animal. I don't know what's gonna happen to you when you drink it, but something's gonna happen, and I don't think it's gonna be good. That's so
Yeah,
funny.
and I butt chug my pre-workout.
Yeah, yeah. You get like a funnel, and you just like you pour the whole tub in there, and then just pour like water down it. And he's like, oh yeah, 20 grams of beta alanine.
You got to think outside the box to get the gains.
You absorb it way better that way. And you do like one set of like biceps, and then you leave.
Oh man, that's bad.
It's like cocaine bear.
Taking like 3 different compounds and just mixing it into a smoothie or something and drinking it.
We're gonna make a protein shake today. It's gonna include 10 grams of test, 300 grams of creatine. That's your pro. Gotta eat big to get big. Goddamn it! Oops, busted. It's like a test.
This
vial.
is a snack.
This is a snack. This isn't a meal on the way to the gym. Straight test, straight to the digestive system.
Oh shit, God.
Why does it taste so fucking bad? Why are you tasting it?
I'm going to text Dan now and be like, hey, man, just hopped on my first cycle. Just want to know, why do anabolics taste so bad when I drink them?
Oh, man. That's funny. Van, I could say, is for sure has been natural for probably most of his life, besides maybe TRT at the most. But he's natural.
I mean, he's getting to the age where TRT is just like a normal part of what you can take. Like at that point, you're actually getting you're getting like the legitimate prescription at this point. Like all of us talk about test and everything, but this is the age where you actually get it prescribed.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what he's doing, but if he ever has, but yeah, he's from my understanding, he's been natural his whole life.
I had a pretty decent conversation with someone there who I actually worked out with this guy back at the beginning of my fitness journey at Planet Fitness, and I just saw him at van again. And we had a good talk about SARMs and everything. So
Hmm.
there's people, and then there are some motherfucking hulks there that you are absolutely sure are on gear. Like, it's insane.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a few. I haven't been at like the busier times in a while, so I can't say who goes there anymore. But
Oh,
yeah, for
busy is
sure.
like 5 people.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's I've told you it's really not that bad. Like, but it's busy. It's not actually like busy. It's just
When I
busy
was
in proportion
describing,
is normally.
yeah, when I was describing the place to my girlfriend, I told her, I was like, "Listen, this is the place where like I disappear into the dungeon, don't make any fitness posts for like 6 months, and just come out a different person. Like, there's nobody there, nobody's gonna track along the process, so it's perfect. Like at Empire,
You
there
just
are
like
just
hiss at the
so
sun.
many people. What's
Yeah,
that?
there is. I said you just like hiss at the sun when you come out of anarchy.
You can't see
Yeah,
my
just like
gains.
run to your car. Yeah, leave me alone. I'm building it. I'm like Michelangelo, fucking building a sculpture.
Yeah,
Whoever builds sculptures, I don't know, but yeah, yeah, no, that's Vanarchy for you. It's the dungeon, but yeah, for Sam, he actually, from what I've seen, he apparently lifts a lot at Planet Fitness. Actually,
that's actually a big thing. One of the first videos I saw of him was it's just him saying, "All these guys bash on Planet Fitness, but here I am getting everything I need done."
yeah, he probably maxes out every fucking machine though and shit. Like he
Well,
definitely maxes everything out.
so that came up in the Greg Doucette video that I watched, and he talks about his leg extensions, and he stacks the entire leg extension thing and does single, and he does like 15, 20 reps on each leg, and then we'll put both in just to burn out with both of them. Like if he did it with both legs, he'd be sitting there doing it to 100 reps, like absurd.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. He has to do it in a weird way in order to actually make it worth it. I mean, I do see him training elsewhere as well. Like, there's this video right here, his full cut day 10 chest. You could tell that's not at a Planet Fitness. Same with the leg day before that. Like, I mean, now that I see it, there it looks like most of the time he's training now is not actually at a Planet Fitness, but it used to be. It used to be almost all Planet Fitness. Yeah, looking back when he was bulking, like all of it's Planet Fitness, besides a couple videos here and there, but most of it's Planet Fitness. So, um, yeah, I just now he might be going somewhere else. He might have noticed, hey, actually, I think I get better results if I go to this other gym now, now that I know
Yeah,
what it's like. But also, the other reason why I don't think he'll be either competing ever or competing soon, the reason I don't think he will be is because his posing is nowhere near ready to step on stage. Um, he like rounds out his back when he does a rear double. He doesn't puff up his chest at all when he does the front lat spread, stuff like that. Like he has a good most muscular. Um, and the other thing with Sam too is that I think he also, if I was him and I was in his shoes, I think I would wait like a good 3, 4 more years before stepping on stage. Like make it to like my mid 20s roughly, because that's when your body really matures over those years and you really start building out your frame regardless of how big you are. But like you can tell just by looking at Sam, just based off his overall frame and muscular density and muscular maturity, that he is on the younger side. Like especially his legs, like his legs are huge and they're very lean, but they're very like rounded. He doesn't have like much quad separation. It's they kind of just mend, like they kind of just melt into each other, which is part of like muscular maturity and muscle density
yeah,
that you build up as you grow older. So um, stuff like that, I think, is what's going to play a big role into him potentially moving into bodybuilding one day. Is that he needs to just build into his frame, not also just build out his frame, but build into it his bone structure. He's still growing. He's still young enough to be growing. So he's gonna be a different guy in 3, 4 years time. So I think if he's ever gonna compete, he needs to wait until then. And like another show of that is his waist, because his waist is pretty wide for where he's at with his physique. Which, granted, I mean that's just men's open for you in general. I mean,
I was gonna
part of
say
getting
that.
big is you're gonna have a big waist.
I was gonna say that's like purely men's open. Like he's out the door for like certainly out the door for physique and borderline out the door for classic physique.
Oh, he is definitely out of the door for classic as well. I mean, it just doesn't. He's too big already for classic. He'd have to really cut back on weight in order to even make classic weight.
Yeah,
But it also like his if you were to train with someone who has a lot more muscle maturity and density, you would be able to see it with one the way with the way he trains, and then also the way he's pushing. So like a really good example of this, there's a video of Nick Walker and C-Bum training, and C-Bum was outlifting Nick. They did a T-bar row, and Nick did like 3 or 4 plates, and I think C-Bum put on like another 2 or 3. And it's just because he just has more muscle density, and therefore he's a bit stronger, at least in that movement itself. Um, and that's just part of it. Like that's why these dudes who are in their 40s that have been trained the same way for 20 years can bench 3, 4 plates for fucking reps because their muscles are so dense from building
yeah,
up so much time that they can do it in their sleep. But it doesn't just start that way. So even though Sam's strong like a motherfucker, he's going to get stronger and stronger over time. And I also think that like I just wonder what his cut looks like, what his gear and stuff like that for his cut looks like, and what this potential cut is for. Like he's at 235.4 in yesterday's video. So like what is he trying to get to? What's the goal? What is he like? Is it more of like a recomp? Like is it just he wants to get his fat down so he can put on some more size? Like what's the reason for the cut? So that as well also alters when it comes to bodybuilding too, where in bodybuilding you do your bulk. Like there's like almost like every year is the same essentially. Like beside like you just plan your show out and then you can structure your whole year off that essentially. Where when you don't have shows planned or anything like that, you're kind of just going through the motions, which is kind of like me right now. Like with my rebound, like obviously there's a focus of putting on size, but there's no like deadline. Like that's one of the things I loved about prepping for a show was I had a deadline. This is when I need to look the best. I have this long, and I was focused because of that. Like I'm like, okay, my goal is to hit this for this week, this for next week, whatever it is, because I need to look this way on this day. Where when you're just bulking cutting, it's harder for me to stay focused because it's like there's no goal. You're just let's just put on size, let's just take off fat, let's just put on size. Uh, so I wonder where he's at mentally right now with that too, and what his plans are for the future. And I just don't think it's bodybuilding necessarily anytime soon because he's like doing like a cut rather than like a prep. So
I'm on
I
the
don't know.
goal to 500 pounds.
Yeah, imagine you'd have to be
Well,
Brian Shaw.
I get a lot of, after the whole conversation we've had with not competing or just doing all this influencing stuff without having the stage aspect of it. I get a lot of Noel Diesel vibes now because like, he's at the point in his life where he's just posting content, he's not competing anymore. He goes to all the big functions, but like he's just, him. So I'm getting that just, 15 years younger, 20 years younger.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, it's some people just have the physique and they don't want to compete. That's just a reality. Some like Alex Eubanks is an example of that. I don't think he'll ever compete, and if he does, he's probably going to get he's probably people are going to mop the floor with him. Probably it just doesn't translate. If you're building a physique that looks good for Instagram and YouTube and stuff, it's not going to be a physique that looks good on stage. It's just the reality. You have to almost always pick and choose. I mean, that's why you don't see C-Bomb posting too much of his physique on Instagram and stuff because to him, he only looks good when he's on stage in a sense. Like, yeah, like he'll post like videos and stuff like that during his prep, but like during his bulk and stuff like that, he doesn't look good enough to post, is his opinion. But in
Yeah.
order to feel that you look good enough to post, you have to keep this certain look for an extended period of time. And that just is not conducive for bodybuilding. It's not how it works. So um, I don't know where he's going to end up. I just think that the way he lives his life, I think he's gonna hurt himself with the way he lives his life and the way he trains and all of that. But I also think that he has a lot of positive things to bring about as well. And he just seems like a really cool dude. He does seem very lonely. I have noticed that he seems very lonely in the way that he talks and acts. especially when he's at home. He just seems very lonely, and like his camera is his best friend. I could be completely
Yeah.
wrong. It's just how it seems. Uh, it could just be his demeanor. It could be his mannerisms. I'm not sure, but it's just how it seems. But the dude is like fucking funny. If you've ever watched
Yeah.
clips, like real clips of him, he's hilarious. Like there's this video yesterday. He was like, "This is what I'm having for food. Do you want to guess how many calories there are in it?" Good guess. It's 360. And it was like, what? Like top comment was like, me who answered like it's Dora the Explorer. Like this dude's just like naturally funny. So it's just he's entertaining for that reason.
That's
But
great.
yeah, he's got a good personality, it seems.
I mean, that's
He
what you got to
engages with
have
the
with the
camera like it's a
influencing
person.
world. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. He's found his niche. He's found his thing, and it's just who he is, really, at the end of the day. His physique
Yeah.
is why he got like his physique isn't even really why he got viral. It was just him driving in his car. That's what made him go viral. His physique is just secondary to that in a sense,
Yeah.
you know? So it's just interesting to see that. And that's, I think
Yeah.
people like that deserve it more, because there's, especially in bodybuilding, there's so many assholes that are professional bodybuilders that are only famous or only viral or anything like that because they have crazy physiques. Sam's the opposite. He got viral because of just who he is as a person. I think those guys deserve way more success than the guys who deserve success just off their physique alone. What do you actually bring to the world besides a look that may last like 5 years? You know what I mean? Like, what are you bringing to the table?
Yeah. You got to have
And
the
that's why
charisma.
people like Noel. Yeah, Noel is popular not because of his size, but because of who he is as a person. Of course, he's big and he has this knowledge because of his size and experience, but who he is as a person is the reason why he's popular.
Yeah. Cool.
That's my
Well,
opinion.
that's our deep dive of Sam Sulek. Sulek.
I think it's Sulek. I don't know. I could be wrong.
Sulek.
Sulek,
Muscles.
whatever it is.
Sam Muscles.
Sam, 21-year-old big dude,
Yeah.
back veins.
Oh my god, I saw that picture. That took me by such surprise. I thought it was like some kind of a striation or something, and then it was like, oh, those are veins back there.
Yeah, it's not uncommon. When I was in prep, I had back veins. It's pretty when you're lean enough, you'll have back veins. It's not, especially in your traps, like where he has it. It's exactly where typically you have back veins, like your upper back traps, rhomboid stuff like that is where you'll get your back veins. It's pretty.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah, you see, it didn't surprise me. And then like his like this right here when he did that pose on Instagram, I had veins there too when I was in prep, and I had veins going down here too. It's just how it depends on how lean you are, is
Yeah.
your vascularity at the end of the day, and also gear too. Like, Glenn made me very very vascular, so that plays a role too. Whatever he's taking is also helping him be vascular.
Hell yeah.
But
Well,
anyways,
we'll be catching y'all next week. Maybe continue this little series we're doing, but bodybuilders, we'll do some more deep dives of them. And we won't do
yeah,
any cliche ones. We'll find cool ones to talk about.
yeah, we'll find more niche and shit.
Yeah, the Mike Mentzer meth cycle.
Yeah, we'll talk about that whole episode about meth and how to
Jesus.
dose it.
Why does it taste weird?
Why does the meth taste bad? What? Why are you taking meth? You should not be doing that.
the rocks are hard to chew.
Why does this? It's like you're taking crack. Why does it hurt my teeth to chew it? Doing crack? Yeah. It looks like those like rock candies you on a stick.
It's
So I
pop
thought it was,
rocks.
yeah. It's not popping. The crack isn't popping. It's not snap, crackle, and pop. It's just crack my teeth.
Yeah.
But
All right, guys.
cool.
We'll be
All right.
catching you next week.
We'll see you guys.
Peace.